Good morning, BraveHeart brothers. It's great to be with you this morning. I want to share a reflection around the pillars of BraveHeart. We talk about values, identity, mission, and shadow. And I just want to share some of those aspects for myself and then some of those aspects that I see in God and want to bring those really into alignment more and more. But my values, you've heard me talk about my first cup in the morning. I get my cup of coffee and I sit right where I am right now. This is my sacred space, and I listen to God and I read the Psalms and Proverbs and just enjoy that time with Him. Listen, linger, and love. It's one of my values. Another one is the authority of God and the presence of God. I love that Jesus, his final words, to his disciples are, all authority has been given to me and I give it to you to make disciples, and I am with you always. So the presence of God, the authority of God, those are two big values for me. Another one is just the love of the Father. I call it the starburst of love. Remember the commercial of Starburst where it kind of explodes inside you? God's love accepts and forgives me and loves me. It's amazing. And then another one is spacious place and soul space. Job calls these places free from distress. And just so grateful for spacious places and soul spaces. And then peaceful paths. Jeremiah 6 is a cool reference to when you stand at the crossroads of life, remember the ancient paths, the paths of God, and choose wisely, and then you'll have peace for your soul. But those are kind of a few of my values. What does God value? And if you were to answer that question, what would first come to mind? And I think the first thing that comes to my mind is God values faith and he values love. In fact, Paul says the only thing that counts is faith and love. Above all, love each other deeply, Peter says. Jesus says, if you love me, obey my commandments. God values obedience. And then he really values humility and the fear of God. In Isaiah, it says, this is the one I esteem. He who is humble and contrite in spirit trembles at my word. And then those who seek him. He rewards those who diligently seek him. He looks over the banister of heaven and looks for those who diligently seek him and wants to strongly support those whose hearts are fully committed to him. Identity, my short identity statement is I'm a joyful, refreshing, reflective, free-flowing river of God's Spirit, bringing his love, life, and living water to others, encouraging and comforting and urging people to live a life of intimacy with God. And God's identity statement is really cool, and we see it at Jesus' baptism when he spoke from heaven, you are my son, in whom I am well pleased. And God says the same thing to each one of us. You are my son, my daughter, in whom I am well pleased. And then my mission statement is to bring the presence of God into every situation, to encourage, comfort, and urge people to live a life of intimacy with God. And in Isaiah 61 and Luke 4, Jesus shares his identity statement when he says, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me. The Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He sent me to comfort the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and he sent me to tell those who mourn that the time of the Lord's favor has come. And I'm just grateful that God has allowed me to be in alignment with his mission, sharing his friendship, forgiveness, freedom, and favor with others. And then shadow. Of course, God has no shadow. But my shadow statement, when I'm in my shadow, I'm selfish, fearful, angry, judgmental, and hedonistic. And with God, there is no shifting shadow. The only shadow, really, that God has is when we're under the shadow of his wings, where we find shelter and protection under the shadow of his wings. So think about your own values, your own identity, mission, and shadow, and where you can align those with Jesus. It's life is rich and it's filled with his peace and his love and his joy. And with that, I'm out. But if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, share as you feel led. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great day.